Speak now or forever hold your peace. I'm only going to share really quick because you've already gone through it. Michael did a great job, and you know, as we talk all the time, like about scripting, that there's this way of saying it, this way of saying it. Johnny says this, Joe says this, Bill says this, but it's all going in the same direction. Same thing with goal setting. So I'm going to ask you to do this. If you got paper and pen in front of you, write these things down so I can talk fast, and then you can get with me afterwards so we don't have to waste everybody else's time if you've got some specific questions. This I learned, I got sat down years and years ago by a multimillionaire and said, this is the formula for setting your goals each year, and this is what I use. Now, first of all, to give credit back to Michael and what he said, as far as knowing what you're doing and where you're going, I literally, as he was talking, I have a spreadsheet. That's how crazy I am about my bills and knowing where I'm going. I know, because it changes from month to month. I'll put stuff in there at the end of the month. I set up the next month and what's going. Right now, I've got $7,807.95. If I don't make that, something's not getting paid. That's how my life works. Now, on top of that, you already know I like to travel and go places and everything else. So when I start adding that in, then the number grows and grows and grows and grows. That's my baseline number. That's not investing in anything, planning for the future, making sure my kids have extra money. My whys of getting extra money. My mom's retired, but I want to retire her so she's not even thinking about anything. I have a brother I want to take care of. So I got $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on a monthly basis that I need to be able to put out that doesn't have anything to do with me. You've got to have those things in your mind so you know what the bottom line goal is, what gets you up and gets you moving. Yes, it's money, but it should be attached to something in your heart. Now, in order to set your goals, you need to have a couple things going. These are the numbers you're going to write down. 10, 20, 30, 40 this way. And then on this side over here in your mind, put 30, 30, 40. The 10, 20, 30, 40 is for anything that's going to have 4 quadrants, and the 30, 30, 40 is going to have anything that's going to have 3 quadrants. This is going to make sense in a second. The biggest thing, that reason most people don't hit their goals, is they don't allow for themselves to gain any form of momentum at any way, shape, or form. You break it out and say, hey, I'm going to make $100,000 next year. And in your mind, you've never made $100,000. But in your mind, you're going to say, okay, I've got 4 quarters, right? First, second, third, fourth quarter. I'm going to do 25, 25, 25, 25. That's silly to think that way. Clearly, you're going to get better as the year goes on, correct? Even if you're not brand new. But if you're brand new, you should be planning on going and getting better. Those of us who are building, obviously, I'm going to have more people towards the end of the year than I do at the beginning of the year. So there's going to have, you got to allow for that upswing. So you set your goals with quarterly, 10, 20, 30, 40%. So now it becomes an achievable goal. If your goal is $1 million, that's mine. If your goal is 100,000, you can break it into 4 quarters, 10, 20, 30, 40%. We go to the first quarter. Next quarter coming up, now I only have to do 10% of my annual goal for that quarter. That's only $10,000. Now it's an achievable. How do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. I'm not talking about crazy numbers that I've never done before that I don't even know if I believe if I can do. But I can do $10,000 because I see all these other people. They're doing that in a week. Surely I can do $10,000 over 3 months. But then we break it down even further. This is where the 30, 30, 40 comes in. Now I'm going to take those quarters. You got January, February, and March. I'm going to do 30% of the goal in January, 30% of the goal in February, and 40% of the goal in March. 30%, 30%, 30%. Now it's only, January's goal is only 30% of the 10 grand, $3,000. Super achievable goal. Because you only got to do a couple a week, 3 a week, and one of them falls off and everything else to get to the end. And now you're building momentum. You're doing it in stages that you know you can achieve, and you can adjust as you go along. And the percentages, because they're percentages, they can be adjusted. It's like squeezing a balloon. Once the quarter's over, you should have hit your goal. You may even be ahead. And then you kind of go from there, and then you can readjust it for the remaining 3 quarters. And you just keep doing that and doing that and doing that. And you watch as those numbers grow, and you are able to do it because you're taking chunks of stuff that you know you can do. Does that make sense to everybody? It's not if you're with me. Let me see if I'm here. All right, 2 of you are paying attention. Good. All right, good. So that's the way that. Now I have a whole different philosophy on everything too because of what we do. We get trapped into this mindset of live within your means, and I'm not telling you to go out and blow money, but live within your means and keep yourself small and all this stuff. And on. We have a money-making printing machine. Literally, you can make as much money as you want. So now I'm not telling you to be irresponsible, but at the same time, if you reach the end of the month and you didn't hit something, what the heck happened? You should be able to go out and make more money. My wife doesn't have a budget. She just tells me what she's going to be spending. My job, now this is me talking to the men, my job is to make sure there's enough money in that account that whatever she spends money on, it's there. Within reason. So she does have some caps, okay? But generally speaking, you also know that I travel a whole lot. So when I do my goals for the year, I don't base it on 52 weeks because I know I'm not going to work 52 weeks. I know it. Here's a scary thought for you. My goals are based on 40. Let's do quick math there. What am I planning on not working a year? So let me do the math. How many weeks?
12 weeks.
12. Pretty easy. Okay. How hard is that? I did 9 last year. Well, we may get one more in. I may get 10 in this year because my daughter's birthday is this month. Now she wants to stay home and she's singing at church, so we probably won't get anywhere. We normally go before Christmas. That's what this opportunity does. You need to open your minds beyond the 9 to 5. I've got to work. I've got to do this. I've got to put this in. Now I figure in 40 weeks, 42, 43 weeks. But as you already know, if you've seen anything of my social media, I work while I'm on vacation just to show I can do it. And that's bonus. That's to make sure I never fall behind. But it's already factored in for my year that I'm going to factor in probably 48 weeks, 45 weeks max is what I'm going to do my goals based on those. So when I even do my quarters, much like Michael Bond, every quarter we have at the end, because there's 13 weeks, you can do a 48 week year and get 4 vacations a year. Every 13 weeks, because there's a 13th week in every single quarter. So you can work for 12 as hard as you can, and you earn a week off. That's the last thing I'm going to leave you with, because Michael said it. I'm going to quote somebody above both of us, Eric Thomas, and he says, that's your problem. Go find it on YouTube. He'll tell you that's your problem, is you reward yourself when you don't hit the goal. You went out and did what you're supposed to. You didn't work out. You didn't do what you're supposed to. And you're sitting at home watching Netflix at the end of the night. What are you doing? You didn't earn that. Stop it. If you stop rewarding failure, you will stop failing. Because the pain, this is how we all change. This is how I operate life. It's how I parent. It's how I do everything. Until the pain of staying the same is higher than the pain of change, you will never do anything. Let me say it one more time. Until the pain of staying the same is higher than change. This is what you want to do, and it's painful. But until it's more painful to stay where you are, you will not do anything. That's just human nature. How many people do we know that want to smoke? Or want to quit smoking, want to quit smoking, want to quit smoking, want to quit smoking. They say, I can't. They go to the doctor. You're going to die unless you quit smoking. Whoop, they quit the next day. What changed?
Tony, can you say that one more time, please? Until the pain
of staying the same is higher than the pain of change. You will not change. And you just use smoking as your mind. I want to quit smoking. 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 But you can't. I want to quit smoking. I can't, but you enjoy it too much. Then the doctor says, you got emphysema. You're working on COPD. You're going to cut your life short by 35 years. You'll probably be dead in a year because we can't do anything about it. You're going to get cancer, all this stuff. Bang. Now the pain of staying the same is death. The pain of not smoking is lower. That makes sense? Okay. That's how you set your goals. You've got to put yourself in a position where staying put is painful. And then you'll do all these things. And then you just break it out and you just gets rolling. And once that gets rolling, it gets going. So I did about 10% of what I normally do. I'm trying to talk as fast as possible, respectfully all the time. But the fact that y'all stayed on here, I want to make sure that I got to share something that you have something to write down and say, okay, here's another angle as well to add on top of what everything Michael said is I'm not doing anything opposite. I'm building on top of what he said. Just putting a little more, what's the stuff that goes between the bricks? A mortar. Good grief. My dad's rolling over in his grave right now. I couldn't even think of that. Sorry. So, all right. Anything now? I'll let you go back to where we were. Any questions on that? Any questions on what Michael said, and then I'll be done at this point.
Can you explain that chart a little bit more, or can you show it, or is it out there to be found?
The 10, 20, 30, and 30, 30, 40?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. In your mind, this is what you write down. Quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. Those are the 4 quarters of the year. The 3 months, 3, 6, 9, 12 months. So in quarter 1 is 10%. quarter 2 is 20%, quarter 3 is 30%, and quarter 4 is 40%. Those are your percentages. The reason I do percentages is because your numbers are going to move. They should. You should be ahead, behind, something, and that way if you're doing percentages, you can alter your percentages. Now within the quarters, you're going to have 3 months, 3, 6, 9, you're going to have January, February, and March. So those you can break down into 30%, 30%, 40%. You want to allow for growth every single quarter. So 30% of the goal, whatever the goal is month 1, 30% of the goal is month 2, and 40% of the goal is month 3. You'll move over. Now, when we go into, let's just get into the second quarter of the year. April, May, and June. That goal, if your goal is to make 100,000, is 20,000 over 3 months. 30% of the goal is in the first month, 30% of the goal is in the second month, and 40% of the goal is in the third month. So that's how you just break down by percentages. Now, all the math that Michael was giving you, that's where you're going to fill in those numbers to figure out exactly what the 30 and the 40% are, because you need to know how many sales. This is where I was going back to when Michael was saying, hey, have all your bills put out. I have my Excel. Now, I'm a math guy, so I break it down this way. My Excel sheet has not only what I have to make in dollars, but then I have it formulated so that the next column over shows me how much business I have to write. And then that's divided by the amount of AP that I need. So per sale. So I know going in, if I don't make X amount of sales per month, I'm doing this. And then the next section down is adding in all my trips and all the rest of stuff. And the next section down is my business, and it breaks it all the way down. So I have this grand total where I start up here and it looks like a little number, and at the bottom, now we're into, significant 6 digits. That's just for Tony to survive and why this business has to work and what I have to do. But it's always broken down. Michael's 100% right as well. It's already been planned out. This isn't something I come up with in December. This started in October, rolling into when Michael and I and Mike and Jalen are having, conversations. I'm going, okay, we need to start planning for the new year. You don't plan for the new year. If you're just now sitting down to write your goals, they're probably not going to be as effective as what you want them to be. They need to be something, your last quarter should be what's rolling you into the first quarter. It just keeps going. There is no magic day that happens. January 1st is not a magic day. That's America. Oh, I'm going to roll over. I'm going to turn over a new leaf. I'm going to set it, that doesn't work. It's no, December 31st and January 1st. I make a habit of trying to see what days I can work on that nobody else does, because I'm taking all this other time off. But I'm like, yeah, but I was working New Year's Day. What were you doing? I was watching football. Okay. I made $5,000 because people were home and I was actually calling them. I watched football, but I wanted to make sure I did that. Well, what does that give me? That gives me a week down in Florida that I can sit around and go to the beach in February when everybody else is back to work and doing the grind. That's how I do it. It's shifting here and squeezing, but I'm always focused on where I'm going because I know how much of that goal has to be. Here's just for me. When I start mine, and I'm going to start doing this with my same way that Michael's doing, I'm going to call it to my team and go, here's what it is. Where's my screen here? This right here is what this is what I've outlaid for the people that are going to work with me. Exactly what Michael is going through to the penny of this. I need 20 of these people by the end of the year. There's 2 sets. You can go, what Michael was saying, make $112,000. It's all said and done. It makes 112. You end up netting about 71. You can go this plan. This goes, you're netting out. You just amplify this plan and you net out at 188. Somewhere between there, I have to have 20. Not 20 people total, 20 people doing this in my group by the end of the year. Well, I can't start that. That started 2 months ago to roll into the next year. You got to know where you're going. That's a focus of saying, okay, there's the goal, there's the goal. That's a biblical principle. Press towards the mark for the prize of the high calling of God. I press towards the mark. I keep my eye up here. Not looking backwards. I look forward, pressing on. That's what we need to do. Focus on the goal. What is it? Now, early on, everything's money. I get it. If you haven't made 100,000 before, you need to start there. And then it'll go, okay, next year I want to make 250. At some point, it will shift and it will not be about the money anymore. And it's going to be about what you can do with the money. And that's going to become more important. Sharing with people, helping with people, putting us out there, helping. And this is why I think we have the greatest opportunity. You should be sharing with everybody you know. In this economy, there's nobody out there you can talk to that you can say, hey, you want to work on Friday night and Saturday? You can make more money working those 2 days and maybe a Sunday afternoon than you can working all week at your job that you hate anyway. Let me show you how to do that. You don't have to train them. You should have an upline that does that. I know Michael can handle it. I know Mike and Jalen can handle it. I know I can handle it. Just send them up to us. We'll take care of it. And you get up and running. You're helping somebody else. And you'll end up making a small override over as well. And then you start going, wow, that was kind of easy. What if I had 5 or 6 people of those? Bang. And now we're helping more people, helping ourselves while helping more people. But it's still focused on the 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, how fast I'm going to get there. Anything else? Good question, Phil.
Tony, this is Lakeisha. So if I've run across a couple of people, at best 3 over the weekend, right, that stated that they are interested in selling insurance and that they are, wanting to come into the business or whatever, but I'm new to the team myself.
Right.
And how is that considered to me building if I'm not really professional enough to invite them in? You know what I mean? So I told them that, I'll get back to you when I know a little bit more, and know how to, be successful in the business so I can be an example. Was that wrong answer or right answer?
2 schools of thought. Here's the short version because we're off topic here. So I'll answer your question for you because it's a great question because I brought it up. My fault. Okay. So my belief, now here's one belief. One belief is until you know what you're doing, you shouldn't go and recruit anybody. Okay. That's the simple answer. The other side of that same coin is you should have an upline so that you can recruit people just like you were recruited. So obviously I fall on that side. My theory is just because you don't know how to sell, you're not the one training them anyway. You're introducing them to this group right here that you're in front of right now. And this is your story. You tell your story. I don't know what your story is, but you tell your story of here's what I was doing. If these are friends of yours, you go, I don't like where we're working. I don't like what we're doing. I wanted to see something. This is what I found. I don't know if it's for you. You may not like it at all, but let me at least introduce you to the people. At least get them on a Zoom call at that point so they can meet the partner, see what it is, get them with myself or Jalen or Michael, whoever it is, what they're going to be in the field or phone or whatever the case is. And then let that take its course. You don't have to do any of the training. You can say that. I don't know enough to train you. I just know what I saw and what I believe the potential is here. My plan is, whatever your plan is for the month, I'm going to make an extra $4,000 or $2,000 or $6,000 this month doing this. You should see if you can do the same. That's my story. That's how I tell everybody to teach it to everybody else. And you can do that a couple times. I mean, good grief. You can do it to total strangers a couple times a week, and you'll have yourself a nice little team by the end of the year without even trying. And we all know if you've looked at the comp sheet, where's my camera at here? Comp sheet's over here. You can see it sits in front of me all day long on my board. That's one of the ways you can write a ton of business. You also can build a team and let that business rise as well. Either way, your comp level goes up. You make more money. You make money from people that you're helping as well. It's a win-win all the way around. And there's no greater business out there. Same thing. Now, if you are in that build, same thing. My goal is 10, 20, 30, 40% when it comes to people as well. So my first quarter is a very low goal of the amount of people that I want to talk to like that I want to go to my team and say, who do you know? It's Christmas time. They're going to have tons of bills. They're going to say, I didn't have the Christmas I wanted to have. I didn't get to go where I wanted to go. I didn't get to do what I wanted to do. I hate this job. Let's take advantage of that. How many people can I talk to? How many people can I talk to? Let the rising tide, all boats go. Bring your friends with you. You have a certain amount of people, 10% of the people.
We will be getting into that talk here again. We'll broaden that a little bit more. Guys, I know that we've gone over time.
My fault.
And it's all Tony's fault.
Always.
Definitely appreciate your time today. Guys, again, if you do have more questions, feel free to reach out to Tony, reach out to myself, reach out to Mike or Jalen, and really get your goals lined up for this upcoming year. Because, again, You don't have the goals, you won't have a game plan, you won't be successful.
That's
Truly successful. So, guys, go out there. Let's become great difference makers today, and go out there and spread the love. Appreciate your time. See you guys soon.
And, real quick, I did post a horribly handwritten version of what Tony was saying in the Mindset Slack channel just now. I know somebody asked for like a chart. My handwriting sucks, but it's like half complete. You can kind of see the gist of it though. So it's in it.
Appreciate that, Jay.
Yep.
It is horrible. You're right. No, I'm kidding.
It's not awful. All right, I'll see you guys.
I'm looking at it.
All right, guys. Have a great day.